The distress signal came through the quantum communicator at 3:47 Universal Time, cutting through the static of deep space like a desperate whisper. Captain Marcus Reeves, commander of the exploration vessel Horizon's Edge, stared at the translation matrix as it decoded the alien transmission. "Help us. The Devourers come. Coordinates follow. Please." The message repeated 17 times before dissolving into electromagnetic silence. Lieutenant Commander Zhang Wei looked up from her console, her expression troubled. "Sir, the signal originated from the Kepler 442 system. That's where the Altheans have their homeworld." Reeves nodded grimly. Humanity had made first contact with the Altheans 3 years ago, a peaceful, crystalline species that communicated through harmonic frequencies and lived in vast cities of living glass. They had shared technology, art, and philosophy with Earth's ambassadors. The Altheans had been humanity's first true friends among the stars. "Navigation, set course for Kepler 442. Maximum warp," Reeves commanded. "Sir, that's 47 light-years. Even at maximum warp, we're looking at 6 days minimum," Navigation Officer Patel reported. "Then we'd better get started." Reeves activated the ship-wide communication system. "All crew, this is the captain. We've received a distress call from our Althean allies. We are responding immediately. All departments, prepare for extended warp travel and possible combat operations." But even as the Horizon's Edge entered warp space, Reeves knew they would be too late. One exploration vessel, against whatever force could threaten an entire civilization, was mathematical suicide. He needed more than his crew of 200 scientists and diplomats. He needed an armada. Admiral Sarah Chen, now Fleet Admiral, after the Zephyrian War, received Reeves' emergency transmission while reviewing fleet deployments from her command ship Indomitable. The holographic image of the younger captain flickered as the quantum entanglement communicator struggled across interstellar distances. "Admiral, I'm requesting immediate military support. The Altheans are under attack by something they call the Devourers. I don't know what we're facing, but—" "Say no more, Captain," Chen interrupted. "How many ships do you need?" Reeves blinked in surprise. "Ma'am, we don't know the enemy's strength. It could be anything from raiders to a full invasion fleet." Chen's smile was cold as deep space. "Then we bring everything." Within 6 hours, the largest human battle fleet ever assembled was burning toward Kepler 442 at maximum velocity. The Armada consisted of 57 warships, including 12 dreadnoughts, 23 heavy cruisers, and a support fleet of carriers, destroyers, and support vessels. Leading them all was Admiral Chen's flagship, the massive super dreadnought Retribution's Fire, bristling with quantum cannons and kinetic kill systems. The fleet also carried something unprecedented, the experimental Genesis weapon, a device capable of manipulating stellar energy on a planetary scale. It had never been tested in combat, but the theoretical projections were terrifying in their potential. Dr. Elena Vasquez, now serving as the fleet's chief science officer, monitored long-range sensors as they approached the Kepler system. What she found made her blood run cold. "Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Multiple planet-class objects. But they're moving. They're not planets at all." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the horror that had befallen the Althean system. Massive, organic entities the size of small moons drifted between the planets, their surfaces covered in writhing tentacles and glowing maws. They were literally consuming the Althean worlds, strip-mining entire continents, and devouring the crystalline cities. "By God," whispered Captain Morrison of the heavy cruiser Vengeance. "They're eating the planets alive." Admiral Chen's expression remained impassive as she studied the tactical display. 7 devourer entities surrounded what remained of the Althean homeworld, their feeding tentacles burrowing deep into the planet's crust. The beautiful crystal spires that had once reached toward the stars were being systematically harvested and consumed. "Fleet composition analysis," she ordered. "Ma'am, each entity is approximately 8,000 kilometers in diameter. Preliminary scans indicate biological composition with metallic skeletal structures. Energy output suggests they're powered by some form of exotic matter conversion," Dr. Vasquez reported. "Weaknesses? Unknown. But, Admiral, I'm detecting Althean life signs. Millions of them, trapped within the entity's digestive chambers. They're still alive." The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood the implication that devourers weren't just consuming worlds. They were keeping their victims alive during the process, feeding on their terror and despair as much as their physical matter. "Communications, open a channel to the lead entity," Chen commanded. "Ma'am, I don't think. Do it." The screen filled with a nightmare of flesh and machinery. Eyes the size of continents opened along the creature's surface, focusing on the human fleet with alien intelligence. When it spoke, its voice was like the death screams of worlds. "Small vessels, you will be consumed. Your fear will season our feast." Chen stood slowly, her uniform crisp, despite the 6-day journey at maximum warp. "This is Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Federation Navy. You are holding citizens of a species under our protection. Release them immediately or face the consequences." The devourer's laughter shook space itself. "Humans, we remember your species. Aggressive, loud, but ultimately edible. You may watch as we finish consuming these crystal singers, then we will taste your worlds." "I was hoping you'd say that," Chen replied quietly. The battle that followed would be remembered as the Feast of Fire. The human fleet attacked in perfect coordination, their quantum weapons tearing into the devourer's organic hulls, while kinetic projectiles punched deep into their cores. But the entities were ancient beyond measure. Their biotechnology evolved over millions of years of galactic predation. Tentacles the size of mountain ranges lashed out, crushing destroyers like insects. Energy beams that could boil oceans swept across space, vaporizing entire squadrons. The human fleet was vastly outgunned and outmassed. But they had something the devourers had never encountered before: human stubbornness, backed by the finest military technology in the galaxy. "Genesis weapon is charged and ready," Dr. Vasquez announced, as the Retribution's fire shuddered under enemy fire. "Target the system's star," Chen ordered. "Ma'am, that will destabilize the entire system. The gravitational cascade could. I know exactly what it will do. Fire." The Genesis weapon spoke with the voice of creation itself. A beam of pure stellar manipulation energy struck Kepler 442's sun, causing it to fluctuate wildly between expansion and contraction. The gravitational effects were immediate and catastrophic. The devourers, caught in the throes of their feeding frenzy, suddenly found themselves being pulled toward the dying star. Their massive forms, so perfectly adapted to consuming worlds, became liabilities as the system's gravity well collapsed. "All ships, fall back to minimum safe distance," Chen commanded. "And prepare rescue shuttles. We're going fishing." As the devourers were consumed by the very star they had been feeding near, the human fleet's rescue operations began. Specialized extraction ships deployed into the entity's death throes, using quantum tunneling technology to beam out the surviving Altheans from their digestive prisons. Captain Reeves, his exploration vessel, now coordinating the rescue efforts, watched as thousands of crystalline beings materialized in his cargo bays. Their harmonic songs of gratitude filled the ship with ethereal music that brought tears to his crew's eyes. High-resonance Veltar, the Althean leader, approached Reeves with movements like liquid starlight. When she spoke, her voice was like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "You came for us. Even knowing the danger, you came. You called for help, Reeves replied simply. We answered. But you brought war instead of rescue, Veltar observed, though her tone held no accusation, only wonder. Admiral Chen's voice came over the comm system, addressing the entire fleet. Sometimes, help comes in the form you need, not the form you expect. The galaxy is full of predators. Today, they learned that humanity protects its friends. As the human armada began its journey home, escorting the refugee ships carrying the surviving Altheans to temporary colonies, the story of their response spread throughout the galaxy. The message was clear: call for help from humanity, and you might get more than you bargained for. But you would get exactly what you needed. The Battle Armada had become something more than a military force. It had become a symbol that friendship with humanity meant never facing the darkness alone.